Hello everybody and welcome to part 6 of our 1-200 Yamato build, and we just happen to be on step 6 of the instructions by coincidence, and that is doing the Photoetch tracks on the stern and inside the hangar bay. And what I'm starting off with is the inside the hangar bay, which you can see there. I've just glued this one down and it's very tiny and very tricky. So what I've done is, you'll see that I've got the hangar bay door frame there because there's two little slots in the bottom where this rail goes through. It has to line up with, otherwise you're going to have problems if you do this 3 or 4 steps as they tell you to later. This was just a way of making sure that it's going straight. So I also used that to help hold it in position. Now, those rails are on our Photoetch sheets E, and we've got them here, and you actually have to fold them in half, and very carefully. So I have a Photoetch bending tool, which I use here, to fold them in half with, and then they stand upright. There's little slots on the deck there to place them. It's not hard once you figure that out. So yeah, and the instructions are a little bit, not that clear, but the instructions show you. So there's one piece there. There'll be for both sides, so there's 2 of them. All right. So you've got one piece folded in half going in position, and then we've got 2 more pieces. There's PE 11 and 12. All right, and they're done on both sides. So we repeat it again for 11 and 12 on the other side. When I say on the other side, I mean there's 1 row going down here, 1 row going down here. Okay, so yeah, that's one's gone on all right. Now what I'm using here is some thin CA glue by IckySticky, get it right. I'm using a applicator to drop out a small piece on a bit of post-it paper, and then they also have these little glue applicators here, which you just suck up the glue in, and there's very tiny, almost like needlehead size, that you can apply it with, and that's necessary to drop just that tiny little amount into the slots where the Photoetch fits in, and you should end up with a nice clean looking piece in like that, which it worked out really well. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to go through and I'll show you when I get some more done. I'm going to work on these 2 pieces now, and then we'll get that sorted out. In the meantime, I just want to thank everybody for joining, everybody for watching, everybody for subscribing and following along. It's been great getting all your comments, and keep them coming. Give us your thumbs up as you go, and share this video out. If you social media sites out there that you might be a member of that might be interested, you're welcome to share this video out. There's the option down below to share. All right. So also in this video, or in the last video, I mentioned we're ready to paint the hull, which we are, but right now it's getting a bit late in the afternoon, so I don't want to start painting. And the other problem I have is that it is so big I can't do it inside, so I'm going to have to go outside to paint. But that's fine. If the weather stays like it was today for tomorrow, the airbrush and the compressor, I'll move out there and be able to spray it up in the undercoat. This stage I only have the primer undercoat. It's made by OutLaw Paints, great top quality product, as you will see when we spray. I'm just waiting for the Imperial Japanese Navy grey that's being custom made by OutLaw Paints for me, and that's going to be sent down to me later this week. So no problem. But we've got plenty of priming to do before we worry about color. The hull red is also being made up as well. All right, so okay, so hang in there with us, guys, and do some more of this, and then we'll get on to putting some paint on this ship, hey? All right, I'll be back shortly. Okay, I just brought you back in for a sec because I just wanted to show you with this Photoetch how I remove it. I've heard some reports in comments below saying how fragile the Photoetch is in this kit, and how easily it can bend or snap and so forth. So I just want to show you what I do here. So the frets, you see, have a layer of plastic on each side. So what I do is I'll peel back one side, and then with your knife, a sharp knife, that's the key. Make sure it's sharp. You're going to go through a lot of these blades cutting Photoetch. The moment it looks like it's getting a bit blunt, change it. Don't try and save on your blades. If anything, you know, put them away and use them for plastic parts later. But for Photoetch, you need as sharp as possible. So what I do is I peel back one side, I leave the backing on the other side, and then I'll just carefully just touch it down on where the join is, like that. That's it there. That's it there. And I turn it around because I'm supporting it and holding it with my other finger. It's not going to move because it's sticking to the plastic on the other side. So, like that. Touch there like that. That one's done. So what I'll do now is I'll come along with a razor blade, carefully slide that underneath, lifting it up. Okay. See how that's lifting it up off the plastic? There we go. So we'll go like that. And it's up. It's off. All right. Just move it across. There it is. Then lay your plastic back down and put that aside so the other parts are all still protected. Now with this, you need to bend it. All right, and it's very narrow, as you can see. So what you need, well, I use the bending tool. Now you can pick this up and probably very, very carefully bend it with tweezers, but yeah, it's a little bit risky because this stuff is very, very flimsy. So what we do first of all is, this is the outside of our piece, right? So what we need to do is turn it upside down. Okay, put it on our straight edge of our bending tool, and then slide it in there so that you're right on where you want it to bend, which is about there. Looks good. All right, tighten it down. I have to be a little bit careful because this Photoetch bending tool I bought from Master Tools, it came in, it's a bit faulty. When you tighten down, it doesn't actually sit straight, and there's a bit of a groove there. It's a little bit off center by about 0.5 millimeter, and I don't remember why, but I bought it off eBay and it just got a little bit too complicated to send back and get another one, so I've had to make do with it. It still works, I've just got to be a little bit more careful. So then you get your razor blade again and just slowly slide it along and get that fold started. Okay, then we can get under there and start lifting it up. Alright, and this will let you bend it past the vertical, like that. Now, if we slide it out just a little bit, the bend has already started where you want it to be. So we'll just tighten it down a bit and just bend it a little bit further. There we go. That's it. Now once you get to that point, you can take it out then, and then come along with your tweezers and just finish it off like this. It's good. And that's it, I think we've got it. Yeah. So there's our next piece bent and ready to go onto our boat, onto our ship. There you go. Now, if you wanted to, you could clamp maybe with some really tiny little clamps of some sort. I've got these plastic pegs that would hold it. And just get that perfectly together and run some thin glue, very thin CA glue, across there and let it hold it. But I'm pretty happy with the way that is like that. Remembering that a lot of the end of this won't be seen because it'll be inside the doorway, although I will have the door open. If I can, I'll go to check that. But, yeah. So that one's done, and I'll just got to glue it in like I explained last one. Okay, we'll be back shortly. Hello, welcome back. So as you can see, I've got the rails on for the trolleys. They've all gone on really nice, really neatly, nice and straight. Most of this you won't see because this will all be covered, so you'll only be able to see what's in through the hanger doors there. But anyway, it was good practice before getting these on. So they're all done. So what I'm doing now is I've decided to put this on the ship before I paint the hull. Reason being, I'll show you, is because up underneath there's a section that needs all of this put in. There you go. It's not photo etch, it's all just supports that go up under there. And it'll be a lot easier to spray that when it's all on rather than trying to mask up around the hull and getting it to blend in. So that'll get sprayed with the hull. But to get that on there, to get to that point, we need to go back and actually go to step 5 where this is put on. So we'll put that on. We've already done that on step 6 with the rails. And then we'll go on and we'll do 7, which is there's some walls that need to go on there. These are the ones that those struts connect to, which is why I wanted to do that now, so I can spray all that at once, because that's all going to be grey. Even if there's a bit of overspray on here, it's going to be grey anyway, so it shouldn't be any problem. And then most of this is all going to be covered by the deck above. So these will go on, but we'll glue this down on first, and then we'll probably also, while we're at it, put all these parts on here as well, including there is some photo etch ladders on the side there. So again, much easier to spray while they're on there rather than doing them individually and then putting them on. All right, so enough talk. Let's get this glued down onto the hull. We'll be back in a sec. I'll set it all up here on the bench. Okay, back again. I've just run some glue around, extra thin. I've got this clamped on the side, just mainly because just in here they were sticking out a bit. I wanted to make sure that was firm, because that's where we've got to put a wall up against there, and I want that to sit nice. So clamp those, they're sitting there perfectly. That's holding the front deck down on the front, which didn't need much at all, but that just something there. I've gone along with extra thin Tamiya, and I've pulled it in all the gaps all the way around. I've got a 2 kilo weight just sitting there just to hold it down firm, more than enough, because it was a really nice fit all the way around. And then what I'll do is, in about half an hour, I'll go along like I did with the hull in here, and I'll do a layer of Tamiya cement, the thick one, and I'll do that from here down in there, because I want that to seal in there really well, and that'll all be covered by the deck above, so I don't have to worry about being able to see any of this. Other than that, everything else should be fine. I'm just going to leave this for a good few hours just to make sure it's all going to set before I take any of these clamps off. Yeah, well, good. So I'll come back and we'll have a look in a second, in your time in a second. My time, a few hours. Hello, welcome back. So I've put the 2 wall panels on, including the little platforms that go on them as well. They're just gluing in there. A little bit of sanding just to get them to fit perfectly against the wall, and no problem at all. Now I'm doing the bay doors, and what I want to do is have them open. So to have them in the open, the instructions show them closed, but to have them in the open position would mean that the side of the detail would be flat against the wall, and then all you see here is ejector pin marks underneath that would need to be cleaned up. But what I found is if you turn them around upside down and put them in the opposite way, like that one, well, you get the detail on this side. Ejector pin marks are going to be up against the wall. You won't see them, and it just saved a bit of work. So I'm just waiting for that to dry a bit more, then I'll attach this one on. The other thing with this too is it slots in. If I can just slide this back a bit, I'll show you. So there's 2 little slots there. It slides down in between and above the tracks there. So what I'll be able to do is just leave it. I won't need to glue that in. And when it comes to painting, I'll be able to take that out and paint it properly and just slot it back in there. And I think once the deck on top goes down, that'll secure it in place. At the moment, I'm working on that, and then I'll be going on to, there's a couple of little turrets on either end here that need to be put together. We've finished step 7, and we're on to step 8 now. So there's those. There's also a couple of doorways that go into the bays at the back here on either side. I need to put those together. And then there's another wall. A couple of wall pieces. I'm not sure where they go. I'm just trying to see. I think they go in here. Yeah, but we'll get to that. All right, so I'll keep going. I'll be back soon. Hey there, welcome back. A little bit more progress. So I've put the hanger doors are on there, both sides of them, and that's just slides out. So that's fine. I got these hanger bay doors here are done, one on each side. Again, they're open, and they're just sitting there. They're not glued in because I want to paint them separately, so I get them detailed and behind where the door's blocking the panel on the ship. These are ready to come off now, so we can take those off. There we go. So that holds them. There's 2 little platforms, one there and there, that I have to do some Photoetch stairs for, and that will be all for once I could do them, step 8. Also did these as well. They're the platforms for the catapults to go on. They're just glued down, so I don't want to touch them. Okay, so I'll get on with the Photoetch. I'll have to move this out of the way, and then we'll put them on this platforms there, and yeah, continue on. We're making good progress. We've almost we've finished step 9 and almost at the end of step 8. Okay, back shortly. Okay, welcome back everyone. So I'll just quickly show you one of the ladders I put on there. Done the same on the other side. And as you may notice, got some stuff going on here. Looking at the instructions, I realise now that we're not going to get this painted in this particular video because there's too much other stuff that needs to be done. Now I'll explain why. This top platform needs to be installed on here. It's going to sit pretty much like that. I know you can't see, but bring that across. All right, because underneath here there's some structures, supports that need to be attached that go from this down onto here, and all those parts are under. This is the hangar bay where the boats come out of. So in the anatomy of the ship, looking at it here, there you can see that area under there. It all needs to be sprayed and painted the same time as I do the rest of the hull. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to get that to blend in properly. It needs to be all installed before I paint. And this whole piece is actually the same color as the rest of the hull. There's no wood decking on this, so this can all be done the gray as well. And the part underneath, and I'm just showing you in the instructions, this, we'll get to that where the holes are. There's the area there. So all of this is going to be much easier to paint when it's all attached. None of that's photo etch, it's all plastic parts. They all go through onto that, but this needs to be attached to install that. Okay, so that's going to take a bit of time, obviously. Now this needs some holes drilled. There are 3 hole sizes in here. We've got, using these IckySticky drill bits here, we've got 1.1 millimeter, 0.9 mil of the small ones. Then we go up to 1.1 mil for the medium size holes here. And then there's just 2 large holes that need to be drilled in here. 1, 2. And they're actually a 2 millimeter drill bit. All right, so all those need to be drilled out carefully before this can be attached. All right, and that's what I'm about to do now. And with the instructions, so that shows them all there in step 9, which we're at now because we just finished step 8 with the last of those photo etch ladders just gone on. And yeah, so we'll get all those holes drilled. There's also a couple of B25, B24 pieces that sit under there as part of the supports. They're on the sprue, so I'll take those off, we'll put them on. But we'll come back once I've got these holes drilled, and then it'll be time to stick this down, glue this down onto here, because then we'll have to turn the whole thing upside down and work on all these structures that have got to be done under there. Okay, progressing along slowly. Okay, so if you're doing this build and you're following along, then, like I know many of you are, this would be a great reference to help you out when you come across, because I'm picking out the issues I might come across with instructions, whether they're not clear or there might be 1 or 2 mistakes that I've found, to the process of putting things on and little tricks and tips I use along the way to make it easier. Okay, But all good. So I'll get on with this. If there's anything comes up, I'll cut back in, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I won't break any of these. But these are quite good drills as long as you keep them vertical and take your time. They're very sharp, so there's no problem. This kit, I don't know if your model come with it or not, but with the monochrome version, these two are part of the packing for the hull. These make great little blocks to do stuff on. I've been using one from a ship I built last year. Actually, that was a mobile phone case. Look at all the holes in that I've used for sticking stuff in there and rolling Photoetch to get curves and stuff. And finally I can replace it with these. There's two of these. I'm using the other end under the bow of the ship. But yeah, great stuff. All right, it's enough talk. Back to work, and I'll be back in a sec. Okay, welcome back everyone. So I've just test fitted this on, and it's locks into place perfectly. And then I was about to think about where all the points were to glue it when I realized, oh, I've got to put the cargo bay doors on, which we made up here earlier. And I've got to paint them first, because otherwise it's going to be a bit difficult to get in there and paint them. Okay, so and also underneath we attached these two rails here, which is what the lifeboats and the barges come out on from the bay. Also, there's attachment points in there for all the girders, rails that go underneath, which is why we're putting this on, so we can paint that. And of course, there's lots of stuff to go on top of here, but that can be done later. But for now, yeah, these need to be painted and installed because they need to go under this. One will go just there, and our main doors in the front there. And as you can see, a lot of this and this is all covered. You can't see. So, yeah. All right, so I'm going to go and prime these and then get some paint on them, and then we can glue them in. All right, back shortly. Hey, welcome back. So I've got these hangar bay doors painted now. So there's the grey that it's going to be. So it's looking really nice. It's there. Right, that's the main hangar door. The other one I've just sat in there to check, and it's fine. What I've realized is that because I'm having the doors open, you can see in here, and of course it's not painted. Now, even though once the deck's on and that, it's going to be quite dark in there, you won't be able to see. I'm just trying to think out if I need to do that or not. I think it'll be fine. I still need to airbrush here, of course, but I'll be able to do that when it's upside down and we've got all the structure and all those braces that need to go on in place. So I don't think it'll be a problem. I think we'll be fine. All right, so what I'll do now is I'm going to glue that in. Got our door for the other side. That's going to go in there. And then we can drop this one down on here. Again, because this door is open and we can see in there, I don't think I can avoid not painting this a little bit in here. Yeah, I'm fairly sure I'm going to have to. I know you can't see there, sorry, I'll arrange this over a bit more. But okay, so the other door will go here and it's open. You'll be able to see in here. So we need to get some paint in there. Yeah, so that's going to be fun, working this around the airbrush. All right, I'll get that done, and then we can glue this down on the top. Okay, back shortly. Okay, welcome back again. So, as you can see, I've got the inside of the hangar area painted just beyond where those hangar doors will be. So when you look in there, that's all you're going to see. Same with over here, got just inside the hanger doors as well, and here. If I didn't paint them now, it'd be too hard to get paint in there once this top is on, which will be this, and it's going to cover pretty much, see what I mean? Be no access to paint in there, and yet you can still look and see. So that's all good. I'm just letting this dry a bit more, so another half hour, and then what I'll do is I'll slide the doors on, glue them in place, and then that completes step 8. So we can move on then, and we've gone to step 9, was putting the holes in there. I'm not doing that yet because I have to see about the wooden deck and how we're going to get holes there with the wooden deck. Don't have to worry about that yet. So we're going to end up turning the whole thing upside down and placing all of this in on both sides. Okay. So we'll come back when I've finished this part, which is upside down, and we're starting on those structures there. All right, and a lot of them will need trimming off the sprue and clean up as well, because there's quite a lot, as you will see here. Yeah, so we got pretty much all of these, and there's 2 sprues, so I'm guessing 1 sprue for each side. Yeah. All right, I will return. Okay, we're back again. As you can see, the hull is upside down, and the deck I glued down, went down perfectly, no gaps, really nice tight fit, beautiful. Now I've got to put in all these struts that go along the hull here that support this platform. There's 19 pieces like this. This is the first one. Got to go all the way along, right up through into here. So they need filing, cutting off, and placing, gluing. You don't want to watch me do that, so I'll get onto this. We'll have a look at it when this side's done, and then I've got to do the repeat on the other side of the ship. Okay, and this will take me quite a bit of time. It's getting a bit later in the evening now. It's almost 8 p.m, so I'll spend an hour doing this and continue on in the morning. But for you guys, I'll be back in a couple of seconds. Okay, back shortly. Hey, welcome back everyone. So I'm just about to put the last one of these struts in place here, and I'll put a photo up in the top corner here so you can see a bit clearer. So what I want to do is just give you a bit of a tip. They all fit perfectly, but what I would suggest is there's a little part here, if you can see that, where that sits in the little holes for them here. Now if you just trim that out just a little bit like that, just get the edge off just to make it a little bit narrower, they'll all slide in much easier. Just like 3 or 4 times, just taking a little bit of that plastic off there, and they slide in easier. And also when you get along here and you get to where the platform is and the ladder, at first I thought, oh, this is in the way. How does that work? But you can actually, if you go in the order from number 20, I think it's J63, work your way along this way, you'll be able to put that at an angle and straighten it up and get them in. No problem. You won't bump the ladder, you won't bump any of that. Just being careful. But it's very important to make sure you don't get your numbers mixed up. Take them off the sprue one at a time, position them one at a time, and just work your way along, because they're all a little bit different. You don't want to get them mixed up. So I'm going to put the last one on now, then I'm going to turn the whole thing around and start on the other side. Then when all that's done, we'll come back and see what's next on the list to be done. Okay, back shortly. Hello, welcome back. So we've completed all of step 13, and we've got all this done under here on both sides. Went on no problem at all. Now this is pretty much, I could almost start painting now, but I'm waiting on some paint to come, so that's going to be a few days off. And it's not that the paint's late, it's that I'm sort of moving a bit too quick. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on the top deck here where all the rails go for the aircrafts that move around on the deck. So let me just adjust the camera so we can have a look up on here and see what we're going to be working on. Okay, so working on this, the reason I can work on this is because this is going to be the same color as the side of the ship. So when it comes to the airbrushing, you can do all of this at once. Now there is only one area up here, two areas I've got concerns with. And one is that there's a strip that goes along here, whole length of this Photoetch, which has to be done a brown color. It's actually, let me have a look at it on the instructions. Okay, so it's a deck brown color, and it is this. There's two of them, one on each side. So what I'm hoping I can do is paint that up first and then place it. But the problem is that what we're going to be doing is doing all these steps on which completely does a lot of this. It'll be step 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. All right, and it's all Photoetch, and it's all the rails as well. Now the thing is that these strips go under some of these rails. So I'm hoping that I can rig this up in such a way that I could slide them under there after this is all painted. Otherwise, I would have to mask them up after everything's been painted grey, and then come along with probably a brush and hand brush them. I don't really want to do that, so I'm going to see what my option is, possibly slide them under these rails. Yeah, I'll work it out, but there's a lot of these rails to go on all around the place. And the other thing also we've got to do is these mesh grills that go in the floor here. And you can see where they go here and here. And I've looked at the pieces, they're very fine mesh. So again, it's one of the parts that I'd like to paint separate, because you really got to do it careful with the airbrush so that you don't fill the mesh, get too much paint on there and you can't actually see through. So painting them separate off here would be best. So that's probably the option of what I'm going to do for that. All right, so you can see here where I've painted this already down in the hangar bay before I put this on. It was easy to do that with that off. Might even be able to notice a bit of grey in there where I painted as well, and that was on both sides because it'll be easier than when that was not on. Okay, so enough talk. So let's get started on step 14, and I think the first thing we'll do is get these mesh grills off the frets and have a look at those and see how we go about getting them painted up. All right, back in a sec. Hey there, back again. So as you can see, I've put the Photoetch pieces in just to test fit them. There was also two more to go on the front here, on further to the stern. There's also a couple of little doorways that go on there and there, so I'll place them in. Now what I noticed is that the grills in there are quite large. I'm used to doing 1/350 scale and 1/700 scale. So 1/200 scale, this is not going to be a problem with painting and so forth. The grills will be fine, you'll still be able to see through them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue them in. So what I'll do is I'll use the MIG ammo glue. This is the MIG Ultra Glue, I should say. This is Canopy and Photoetch glue. Dries completely clear, and you just apply it with a toothpick. I've used this before, you've probably seen in other videos. You can water it down as much as you want, which is really handy. Just run it around the edges, drop your piece in there, and it's fine. One thing with these is the tolerances are very tight, so make sure that your pieces don't have any bits of photo etch nubs on them. Use a sanding stick, just make sure they're perfectly smooth and they'll sit in there absolutely perfectly. If there's the slightest bit of metal nub from where you took it off, it's not going to sit down flush like it is there now. Okay, so I'll go ahead, attach these. I'll put the doors on, little hatches they are. I'll put those on as well, and then we'll move on to some more. There's a lot of photo etch on here. Okay, I'll be back in a second. Hey, welcome back everybody. So made a lot more progress. Glued in the grills, no problem, and they've gone in really nicely, including these two up the end here. No worries. As you can see, I've started on the rails that trolleys run along that move the aircraft around. In the process of putting them down, got the pieces off here. These ones are glued. They're quite simple to do, just got to take your time with it. The longer the pieces, just be careful when you're folding them in half, just take your time, get them accurately, squeeze them together, and they'll be fine. Occasionally I have had to just touch a little glue on the ends to keep them together, but they're fine. They glue on no problem. I'm using the IckySticky Hobby glue, the thin CA, and applying it with my homemade pen that you will see in all my videos. I've had this thing since day one, just for applying into those little tiny holes. As you can see, there's little spots where they go. Great stuff. I've seen people using a syringe. That's another good idea I've seen. You could try that. Now, one of the parts that I've also got to do is there's a large, long piece here, these photo etch pieces. All right, so they go roughly down like that. Okay, that's where I go, and these rails go across the top. Now there is little cutouts in the bottom that give the clearance to go over there, so that's no problem. They've made these knowing that they're going to be over this little slightly raised section where these will be. The problem is, I don't know if you'll have the problem, but they're slightly curved lengthwise, so they don't sit completely flat. Now, I've had these sitting for 2 days between 2 sheets of flat glass with 4 kilos of weight on them, and it's made no difference at all. Right? So the other option I was suggested was to anneal it, which is to heat them up, then put them underneath and let them lay flat, but I don't want to do that because I'm also told that could risk distorting them and getting them completely out of shape. So we don't want to do that. So the alternative I have is I'm going to just scuff up the bottom of that, because you can see how smooth that is. Not a very good surface for glue to go on. Scuff that up and then lay it down, and I'll find something, I'm not sure what, to put some weight on here and glue them down. And I'm not even sure what glue I will use yet. I want something that's not instant dry like CA. Now I do have some, find it here, medium, here we go, some thick CA from IckySticky, which is a slow cure, high strength. That could be an option. I could just smear that really light coat underneath, and that should work. I'm thinking about going with that option. So yeah, that's what I want to do. Then I can finish putting these pieces on, which run across the top of each side, because there's 2 of these. They both go pretty much like that. Another thing to note is these are a different color to the rest of the deck. So the rest of the deck will be the gray, but these need to be a brown color. So I was thinking of possibly painting them separately like this, and then if there was enough clearance, slide them on under the photo etch, but that won't work. There's not enough clearance. So the other alternative will be to mask it up carefully, especially where the photo etch is, and paint them. I'm sure I can do that. There's even the option of brush painting it. And of course, I'll be doing weathering on this ship, so you know they don't have to look perfect. All right, so I will continue on. When we come back, hopefully I'll have these on. I'll have the rest of the photo etch, including these longer pieces on the side. That one's on now with these two connected. And then we'll actually attach the turntables that sit here. And I've just test fitted them to make sure they don't interfere with the photo etch, and they're fine. They actually sit completely inside the location there. And we've got them in here. So we'll come back when we get to that stage. We'll have a look at how all this went down. I'll go through it all. And yeah, do that. Okay, stick with us. Won't be long now, and we'll have this deck pretty much ready to paint. I think we'll check. All right, back shortly. Hey, welcome back again. So I just thought I'd cut in and just show you how I've gone about doing this. So what happened is the strip, I've scuffed it up underneath. So there's one to see. I just run some sandpaper under there. And to get rid of the bend, I actually put it on some rubber. Actually, I'll put a photo up in the corner here. You'll see a few photos and get an idea how I went about fixing that. And that flattened it out, solved that problem. Now, what I've also done is I used my MIG Ultra Glue. This is a canopy and photo etch glue. It dries completely clear and rock hard. So, but it does take time to dry. Okay, so what I've done is you can water that down. So I've made a mixture here, and I've just made it just a little bit pasty, you know, and what I did was I've used these are IckySticky's cotton buds and applicators. There's a pack you can buy like these, and I've applied that by running it, turn this one over, just running a really light layer all the way underneath, and then I've just placed it all on the deck, and I've just used these are just little weights, and I've just positioned them on there. I ran out of weights, so I used a padlock, but they'll sit there for a good, I'm going to say, 2 hours. I want to make sure that that's going to set down there properly. The good thing about this glue is it cleans up with water. So I did have a little backup of water here with a couple of cotton buds, but I didn't need it because I didn't put too much on, so none of it squeezed out. But even if any did, like I say, it's canopy glue. It dries completely clear, but always be prepared for any excess. So I won't make you watch this for 2 hours. I'll put this aside now. I don't have any more weights to do this side, unfortunately. So I've got nothing else really to use. So I'm going to wait, and then I'll do this side. And then we'll be able to put our bits of photo etch on, including there's some pieces that go across here and here. One actually overlaps the photo etch, which is why I needed to get this down. Same with these two pieces that go across between the turntables, they go over the photo etch as well. All right, so we'll come back and we'll have a look when it's all glued down. All right, back shortly. Okay, welcome back. So the photo etch is on. Those strips went on, no problem at all. I gave them a good 2.5 hours to dry before I took the weights off, and then I did this one. I went to the beach, come back, took the weights off, done. They're stuck down, they're flat, they're perfect. Then I put the rails on here that overlap on the corners. They fit perfectly. there's actually gaps underneath for that to go under, and these two here and here run across the top, again perfectly fit. So that's all the photo etch done on this deck, at least for the rails anyway that I know of. So now we can move on to the turntables, which there are, as you can see, there's 5 of them. They also have a couple of bits of photo etch. I'll just go to the instructions and then we'll have a look at a photograph and see exactly what we'll be working on there. We'll be back in a sec. Okay, so here's a picture that shows the turntables. You can see one there, there's one under there, and one here. Knows what we're going to do now, and put a couple of rails on them. Obviously this is for the trolleys for the aircraft to slide on, and they turn them and run them up the other rails. So the instructions, we have a look, show them here. So we're up to 18 now. So what we've done is we've completed all the way through from 14, 15, 16, 17. Now we're doing 18, which are these. So there they are there. Part number is L7. We've got to make 5 of them. And yeah, they just sit down in the positions in there. I've already test fitted them with the up against, so that making sure the photo etch didn't come interfere with them at all, but it doesn't. They actually sit flush right inside those holes. It's not a problem. All right, so I'm going to put these together. I already have them apart. I think I showed them to you earlier. I just need to trim them up a bit and get the photo etch off and put them on. All right, so I'll just do that and be back shortly. Okay, welcome back again. So the turntables are all installed. I haven't glued them in yet. I'm about to just touch them with some extra thin to lock them in position. You'll notice that they're all painting facing north-south because they're not being in use, and they're folded in the down position. So when they actually use them, they'll rotate them and then fold the rails up so they'll join and they can run across them on the trolleys. But this is how it's depicted at the moment, so that's how I'm going to leave them. And that's it. So I'll just go along, touch them up, lock them in, and we'll move on. So we'll get back to the instruction manual and find out where we're up to. Okay, be back in a sec after I've done this. Okay, back again, and we'll just go quickly. We've done step 14, 15 and 16. 17 done, 18 is done, which was just those turntables we just installed. Going on to 19, we did that earlier. We put the pipes on the side of the hull, and that includes step 20 and 21, including the anchor. So that was all done. 22 was doing the other side. 23 is done. 24 was the anchor and the other pipes on the other side. They're done, and that takes us to 25. Step 25 is on the bow, and there's a few bits and pieces that need to be put on here. And I'm just going to work out how about fitting that and seeing how this piece fits on. And then the center deck area that supports all the bridge and everything, that is what needs the wood deck installed on, whereas this part will still be grey. So there's a chance that we may be able to put these on and have this up here before we paint as well. Okay, so we've done quite a bit. We've progressed quite a lot. All that photo etch is on and it's all looking really nice. So I'm going to call it a video here. It's been long enough. We're getting up to the hour mark. I'm trying to keep them under an hour. Every now and then, like a couple of videos back, I will put out a half-hour one if it's just a small amount of progress that I want to show. All right, so thanks a lot. I just want to say thank you for all the new subscribers. We've had so many new subscribers. It's just unbelievable. All the comments that I've been getting, questions I've been answering, suggestions I've been taking on board. Fantastic. Thanks for the help that everyone's offering. It's really, really good. And I'm glad everybody's following along. Okay, so now I'm just going to finish up here, and we'll call this a video, and in step 7, we'll get on to probably having a look at this and, well, maybe get some paint on, eh? I really want to get some paint on, which should be arriving in the next few days from OutLaw Paints. Okay, guys, so thanks a lot, and I'll see you all in part 7 of the Yamato build. Bye for now.